Gap hoodie, is that right?
It is me.
That's you. Who are you shooting at?
No.
Alright, now back it up again.
That was Cornelius Smith, one of the men charged with Young Dolph's murder, openly admitting it in court, but that wasn't all. He also made serious accusations involving Yo Gotti and his brother if his testimony holds up. This could be the moment that pulls Yo Gotti directly into the case. Let's break it down. This is the Memphis beef that turned deadly. The streets have been full of rumors linking Yo Gotti and his older brother Anthony Big Juke Mims to Dolph's murder, and now, investigators are digging deeper into what could be a much larger conspiracy. Young Dolph, real name Adolph Thornton Jr., was shot and killed on November 17, 2021, at Makita's Homemade Butter Cookies in Memphis, Tennessee. He had just pulled up to grab cookies for his mom when gunmen opened fire, cutting short the life of one of Memphis's most respected independent artists. The moment the news hit, all eyes turned toward Yo Gotti and his CMG crew, Dolph's longtime rivals. But to really understand where it all started, we need to go back to 2014. At the time, Dolph was gaining major momentum in the Memphis rap scene with his raw street style and hustle mentality. Yo Gotti, already well established with his CMG empire, tried to sign Dolph, but according to Dolph, the way Gotti went about it didn't sit right with him. In a vlog TV interview, Dolph explained that when they first met, Gotti was bad-mouthing his own artists Zedzilla and Starlito just to hype Dolph up. Dolph said, "This was my first time meeting him and he threw his own artists under the bus to impress me. That's a red flag I couldn't respect." That Dolph also mentioned in a Breakfast Club interview in 2017 that even Gotti's manager warned him not to sign with CMG, confirming he made the right choice. But Dolph turning down CMG wasn't just him rejecting a deal, it was seen as a bold statement. Instead of joining a major label, he built his own movement paper route empire from the ground up. This move put him in direct competition with Gotti in Memphis. Sources say Gotti didn't take it well, especially since he was used to controlling the Memphis scene. Their quiet beef became public in February 2016, when Dolph tweeted, "Bro went from being my #1 fan and wanting to sign me to being my biggest hater and to turn up the heat." Dolph dropped his debut album that same year titled King of Memphis, a title Yo Gotti had claimed for years. This open disrespect took the beef between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti to a whole new level. While Gotti tried to stay cool at first, his CMG artist Black Youngsta jumped into the mix and escalated things fast. In March 2016, Black Youngsta dropped a diss track called Shake Summon, aimed straight at Dolph. In the song, he questioned Dolph's connection to Memphis, rapping, "How you the king of Memphis? You ain't from the city, you from Chicago." Youngsta didn't stop there. He pulled up to Dolph's South Memphis neighborhood with a group of armed men and filmed a threatening video. That bold move had the whole city on edge. Things turned even more serious in February 2017, when Dolph clapped back with a brutal diss track, Play With Yo B. The song didn't just take shots, it launched missiles. Dolph claimed he slept with Gotti's baby mama and called him Ho Gotti. The cover art added even more fuel to the fire, showing a screenshot of missed calls from a contact labeled Ho Gotti baby mama. The disrespect was loud and clear. The track went gold, and Dolph proved he was a major force in the rap game even without a major label. But just weeks after the song dropped, things got dangerous. On February 25, 2017, while Dolph was in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Kia basketball tournament, his bulletproof SUV was shot over 100 times. Miraculously, Dolph walked away without a scratch thanks to the armored car. In true Dolph fashion, he still performed that same night and even did Play With Yo B live to show he wasn't scared. After the Charlotte shooting, the drama between Dolph and CMG got even deeper. Police said the van used in the attack was rented under Black Youngsta's name. Youngsta turned himself in on May 16, 2017, but claimed someone else used the van without his knowledge. The charges were dropped in 2019, but the situation tied CMG even closer to the beef. Whether directly or not, Dolph, always focused on business, flipped the attack into a win by dropping his album Bulletproof in April 2017. The lead track, 100 Shots, referenced the Charlotte hit and helped grow his image as an untouchable and independent boss in the game. The album debuted at number 36 on the Billboard charts, but the violence didn't stop. shot in September 2017. Dolph was shot 3 times outside the Loews Hollywood Hotel in Los Angeles. He was hospitalized in critical condition. By coincidence or maybe not, Yo Gotti was reportedly staying at the same hotel at the time. A Memphis man named Corey McClendon, a known associate of Gotti, was arrested and charged with attempted murder, but he was later released, and LAPD cleared Gotti as a suspect. As the beef got more serious, the public started paying even closer attention. Both Dolph and Gotti's camps were now locked in a deadly feud that blurred the lines between music and real-life street war. Yo Gotti often addressed the beef in interviews, usually trying to play it down or call it a misunderstanding. In October 2017, during a stop on The Breakfast Club, Gotti denied having any real issues with Dolph. He said, "I'm the biggest rapper from Memphis. I help a lot of rappers from Memphis. I don't know. I can't really think of what the problem is." Gotti claimed that Dolph was just using their drama as a way to promote himself, saying, "I really don't think homie got an issue. I just think it's marketing." He even pulled up an old text from 2012, showing how he had given Dolph advice and invited him to his shows early in his career, suggesting he was more of a mentor than an enemy. For years, the back and forth between Dolph and Yo Gotti simmered. Diss tracks, sneak disses, and the occasional violent encounter kept things tense, but neither side fully backed down. Then came November 17, 2021, a day that changed Memphis hip-hop forever. Young Dolph was shot and killed at Makita's homemade butter cookies in his hometown. His murder sent shockwaves through the city and the music world. Immediately after the shooting, Memphis police shut down Yo Gotti's restaurant Privé as a safety measure. There were rumors it had been hit with stray bullets, but those reports were false. Still, the fact that police took such quick action showed they believed this beef could lead to even more violence. The investigation into Dolph's murder moved carefully. By January 2022, police had arrested 2 suspects, Justin Johnson, also known as Straight Draw, and Cornelius Smith, both charged with first-degree murder. Later, a third man, Hernandez Govan, was charged as the alleged mastermind who ordered the hit. For nearly 3 years, people were left wondering, was this really about Dolph's beef with CMG? While online fans shared theories, there was no solid proof until September 2024, when Justin Johnson's trial kicked off and everything changed. During opening statements on September 23, 2024, Shelby County Deputy District Attorney Paul Hagerman dropped a bombshell. He said Anthony Big Juke Mims, Yo Gotti's older brother and a major CMG figure, put a $100,000 bounty on Young Dolph's head. This was the first official allegation linking CMG to the murder, reigniting all the talk about their long-running feud with Dolph, and the case against Johnson got even stronger thanks to testimony from Cornelius Smith. His co-defendant was ready to speak on what really went down. Cornelius Smith had already pleaded guilty and agreed to work with the authorities. In his testimony, he gave a detailed breakdown of what he says really happened. According to him, Yo Gotti's brother, Big Juke, offered him and Justin Johnson $40,000 each to kill Young Dolph, with the promise that they would be signed to CMG afterward. That testimony directly linked Dolph's murder to the long-standing industry beef between Dolph and Yo Gotti's camp. Smith claimed that the hit was carefully planned and involved several people. Hernandez Govan allegedly acted as the middleman between Big Juke and the shooters. Smith said Govan arranged for Johnson to meet with Big Juke in Atlanta, where the deal was made. If true, this meeting is a key part of proving a larger conspiracy involving CMG leadership. One of the wildest parts of Smith's testimony was that after they carried out the hit, he and Johnson FaceTimed Big Juke, and Johnson spelled out Dolph in sign language to confirm the job was done. This suggests they had a secret way of communicating to avoid leaving digital evidence, making the hit seem very calculated, not random. Smith didn't stop there. He also claimed that Big Juke had put money on the heads of other Paper Route Empire artists, including Key Glock, Paper Route Wu, Big Moochie Great, and Snoop bands, according to leaked court documents. These claims pointed to a possible broader plan to take down Dolph's entire crew, though these extra claims haven't been proven in court yet. Another shocking detail: Smith said he only got $800 out of the $140,000 he was promised. He also claimed that someone connected to CMG paid for his legal fees after he got arrested. If true, that suggests there may have been an effort to keep him quiet, possibly tying CMG CMG to the case even after the murder. The timing made things even more complicated. In January 2024, Big Juke was shot and killed outside a Memphis restaurant. His murder is still unsolved, but it sparked rumors that it may have been get back for Dolph's killing. Nothing has been confirmed, though. While Big Juke was heavily involved in the trial, Yo Gotti himself wasn't charged or named as a suspect. Still, his role as CMG's leader and Big Juke's brother made people wonder how much he knew or if he was involved behind the scenes, especially since Smith suggested CMG's money and influence helped cover up parts of the crime. The shooter's claims about their legal fees being covered sparked a lot of rumors that Yo Gotti might have known more than he let on, but so far, there's no solid evidence linking him directly to the decision-making or planning of the hit as the legal process moved forward. Justin Johnson, also known as Straight Drop, was found guilty of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and being a felon in possession of a firearm on September 26, 2024. He was sentenced to life in prison plus 35 additional years for the extra charges. Johnson's lawyer, Luke Evans, argued that his client was manipulated and pushed for a retrial, saying the evidence wasn't strong enough, but the court didn't agree, and the verdict stood. Cornelius Smith, who had already pleaded guilty and testified against Johnson, is still waiting to be sentenced. His court date was pushed to November 2024. Meanwhile, Hernandez Govan, the man accused of organizing the hit, maintains his innocence and is scheduled to go to trial in July 2025. That trial could reveal more about Big Juke's role in the murder. When it comes to Yo Gotti, the allegations are mostly based on his family ties and business connections to Big Juke and CMG, not on direct evidence or testimony linking him to the crime. As Johnson's trial ended, attention shifted to the bigger question: who was really behind the scenes calling the shots? The court proved Johnson was one of the shooters, but the wider conspiracy, especially the alleged involvement of Big Juke and others tied to CMG, still hasn't been fully sorted out. So the big question remains: will Yo Gotti eventually face charges? As of May 2025, he hasn't been charged or officially named a suspect in Dolph's murder. One shooter is serving life, another confessed and pointed to Big Juke, not Gotti, the alleged mastermind. Govan is still waiting for trial right now. No financial records or text messages have come out to prove there was a $100,000 bounty or that CMG paid for the shooter's legal fees. Without solid proof like that, prosecutors would have a hard time building a strong case against Gotti. Prosecutors can't charge Yo Gotti just because he was related to Big Juke or worked with him. They need stronger evidence, something that directly connects him to the planning or order of the hit. That's why the July 2025 trial of Hernandez Govan could change everything. Govan is accused of being the one who helped connect Big Juke to the shooters, and if he decides to cooperate with prosecutors in exchange for a lighter sentence, he could reveal whether Yo Gotti had anything to do with it. But here's the thing: Govan has pleaded not guilty and already turned down a plea deal, which means he might not be willing to talk. So, for now, Yo Gotti remains untouched. Meanwhile, the possibility of federal charges adds another layer. In October 2024, music manager Wack 100 said on Clubhouse that Yo Gotti could get hit with RICO charges. He claimed prosecutors might try to label CMG, Collective Music Group, as a gang and connect it to Young Dolph's murder and past incidents like the 2017 Charlotte shooting. Wack pointed to Cornelius Smith's testimony, which said CMG covered the legal fees of the shooters that, according to him, could be seen as evidence of organized criminal activity. While none of this has been confirmed officially, it's a direction prosecutors might consider if they see CMG as more than just a label. If this becomes a RICO case, it could allow prosecutors to go after Yo Gotti even if he didn't pull the trigger. They just need to prove he was a leader of the group and that the crimes committed like Dolph's murder were a part of a pattern of criminal activity. Still, there's a catch: the RICO case would need solid proof that Yo Gotti either ordered the crimes or directly benefited from them, not just that people close to him were involved. Right now, the only link is Smith's claim that CMG paid legal fees, and that's still just a rumor with no hard proof. Since Justin Johnson's trial, online talk about Yo Gotti catching a case has blown up. People on social media are comparing this situation to Young Thug's YSL RICO case, saying what happened with Dolph could just be the beginning of a bigger takedown. Some even claim that Gotti set up both Dolph and Big Juke, but so far, none of that has been backed up in court. These theories reflect what people are feeling, but without real evidence, they don't hold any legal weight. There's a rumor going around online that Yo Gotti fled to Texas to avoid legal trouble connected to Young Dolph's death. This started after he allegedly posted a video saying he was moving CMG's headquarters to Dallas, Texas. Fans are now wondering if he did that to avoid getting charged in Memphis. The situation got even messier when Big Juke was killed. His death removed a key figure who might have been able to explain what really happened, leaving prosecutors to rely on Hernandez Govan or hope new evidence comes to light. There have been past incidents tied to this beef, like the 2017 shooting in Los Angeles, but Yo Gotti was never charged, and the LAPD officially cleared him. That shows investigators haven't found enough evidence in the past to connect him to these violent events, even when they were clearly linked to the rivalry. But despite that, Yo Gotti still isn't in the clear. During Justin Johnson's trial, prosecutors focused heavily on CMG, and Cornelius Smith's claim that CMG paid for legal fees has raised more questions. This suggests investigators may be looking at the label's bigger role in all of this, not just the people already arrested. The big moment everyone's watching is Hernandez Govan's trial in July 2025. If Govan flips and decides to cooperate to avoid life in prison, he could reveal new details that point directly to Yo Gotti. There's also talk of a possible RICO case, though nothing official has been confirmed. But the way things are shaping up, it sounds similar to what happened in the YSL case with Young Thug. If federal agencies like the FBI or ATF are involved, they may already be quietly building a case behind the scenes. Public pressure is another factor. Influencers like Whack 100 and Constant Talk on social media are pushing law enforcement to take a closer look at Gotti, especially because of how Big Dolph's murder was in Memphis. So far, Yo Gotti has stayed quiet. He hasn't said anything about Dolph's death or responded to claims made during the trial. While that's probably the smartest legal move, it's also allowed rumors and speculation to grow even more. Still, Gotti has been focused on business. In January 2025, he signed a new artist named Zillionaire Doe, showing that he's moving forward with his music career despite the cloud hanging over him. Looking ahead, a few things could change everything: Govan's testimony at trial, any signs of federal involvement, like from the FBI or ATF, new financial records, messages, or witnesses linking Gotti to the murder plot, or rising public and media pressure. If any of those pieces fall into place, it could finally bring charges against Yo Gotti. There's growing political pressure on Memphis authorities to solve every part of this high-profile case. If charges are ever brought against Yo Gotti, the focus will likely be on proving that he knew about or was involved in the plan allegedly organized by his brother, Big Juke. Prosecutors would need to show that Gotti knew a bounty was placed on Young Dolph, and that he either approved it or chose not to stop it, even though he had the power to do so. Another option would be to argue that CMG, the music label Gotti leads, was being run like a criminal enterprise, making him responsible for anything done to benefit the group even if he didn't directly plan the murder. On the flip side, Gotti's defense would likely argue that there's no direct evidence linking him to Dolph's murder. They'd probably question the credibility of witnesses like Cornelius Smith and point out that most of the evidence so far focuses on Big Juke, not Gotti. His team could also use Gotti's public statements, where he downplayed the beef with Dolph, and his focus on growing CMG as a legit business, to argue that he had moved on from street politics. Now, it's important to remember that the bar for getting an indictment is much lower than what's needed to actually convict someone. Prosecutors only need probable cause to move forward with charges, but in high-profile cases like this, ethical prosecutors usually won't file charges unless they believe they can actually win the case at trial. Right now, the question of whether Yo Gotti will be indicted is still up in the air. This case highlights just how complicated it can be to prosecute large criminal conspiracies, especially when evidence is limited and witnesses may have hidden agendas. It also shows how rap beefs can spiral out of control, going far beyond the music and turning into real-life violence. In the end, it's up to the justice system to sort through all the professional rivalries, street conflicts, and personal grudges that may have played a role in Young Dolph's tragic death. For now, Yo Gotti hasn't been charged, but he's also not completely in the clear. He's stuck in legal limbo, with the possibility of an indictment still hanging over his head. The upcoming July 2025 trial of Hernandez Govan could be a turning point depending on what's revealed in court. It could either help clear Gotti's name or bring new evidence that strengthens the case against him. Until then, The hip-hop community, legal experts, and fans can only wait and wonder if we'll ever know the full truth about what really happened to Young Dolph and whether everyone responsible will ever be held accountable. Thanks for watching. If you want to see another deep dive video like this, go ahead and click one of the boxes showing on your screen right now.